So in the previous video I showed you guys how you can test your wastegate using compressed air. Now in this video I'm going to show you how you can test the spring rating of the wastegate in terms of PSI using a boost gauge and compressed air. So the first thing that you want to do if you don't have a boost gauge is go out and get any cheap boost gauge. In fact the cheapest one you can buy, as long as you're not planning on running it on your car. And the second thing you want to make sure is that the wastegate is actually bolted onto the flange with its fire ring. And the reason why you want to do that is because by bolting this down it actually pushes on this valve, causing tension on the spring. So if you don't do that you're going to get an inaccurate reading of the spring rating. Okay, so now for the test. We're going to slowly give it some air and we can watch the boost gauge and the valve as they work and open together. So there at about 12 psi the valve initially cracks open. So let's do that again. There we go, 12 psi, the valve cracks open. Now we can see how at 1 bar how much the valve would be open. So there's 15 psi. I think this test is quite important to do, especially when buying a second-hand wastegate from somebody and you're not quite sure what PSI the spring is rated at. So, I mean, just by doing this it can save you a lot of headaches. And a lot of the times when all the parts actually on the car and the car's running and you believe, I mean, you watch the boost gauge and you see that it's possibly under boosting, that's a good time to pull everything off and actually do a simple bench test, because this is showing the true results of the wastegate, so without any external factors adding to it. I know that some of you guys might think that when the wastegate is actually on the manifold, because obviously there is exhaust manifold pressure, and which can go around between 2 and 2.5 bars, so that's I'd say maybe between 22 and 30 psi, that you think that the manifold pressure would want to lift this valve from underneath. Now it might actually, you know, I haven't really done that much testing, but I can definitely say that what was happening on the Golf was, as we were running it on the car, the boost gauge was showing that it was boosting at around 10 psi, between 8 and 10 psi, and it was weird because it would boost at 8 psi and then all of a sudden at 6,000 revs it would boost at 1 bar. So this is what was happening. It was reaching 0.6 bar, 8 psi, 10 psi, and the valve was cracking open, and that wasn't allowing the turbo to actually fully boost as much as what it should. And then eventually when the turbo was spooling enough within those high RPMs, it would jump to 1 bar. So now with this sort of test, I put the other wastegate on, and at 0.6 bar on the bench test the valve was opening. So this tells me that when this wastegate is actually on the car at 12 psi, this valve will open. Guys, if you have any questions or you don't quite agree on with what I'm saying, you're more than welcome to comment with any questions, or, you know, comment your opinion, and I'll be more than happy to get back to you. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe as well. Sweet, thanks, cheers.